What if one small habit swap could save you hundreds this year? Imagine an approach that doesn't require drastic lifestyle changes, just smarter daily choices. In the next minutes, you'll learn how to save more by replacing bad habits with practical substitutes that fit into real life. This is not about perfection, but about steady, repeatable improvements that add up over time. Let's begin by understanding why habits drive our spending and how the brain organizes choice without us noticing. Habits form through cues, routines, and rewards. A cue triggers a routine, which yields a reward, and over time the brain learns to favor the pattern. When that routine is expensive or unnecessary, it quietly drains your resources. The good news is that you can intervene at any point in the loop. You can change the cue, alter the routine, or switch the reward. The key is to pick substitutions that feel almost automatic so you don't have to rely on willpower alone. First, identify your top spending habits. Start by listing 3 cues that repeatedly lead to unplanned purchases. A busy morning might trigger a dash to a coffee shop. A late afternoon slump might lead to snack cravings. A bored evening could prompt online window shopping. If you can name the triggers, you can design a substitution that fits naturally into your day. The goal is to create a new routine that provides a similar cue and a similar reward, but at a lower cost or with a healthier payoff. Let's walk through concrete substitutions. For a daily coffee shop habit, consider brewing at home with a simple, reliable routine. Wake up, rinse a mug, brew a cup, and write down one item you'll do with the saved time later. The substitution isn't merely about coffee, it's about building a small ritual that preserves the moment of pause in your day while preserving money in your account. If you typically buy breakfast on the way to work, prepare a bagged breakfast or a quick homemade option the night before. The routine remains comforting, but the price tag shifts dramatically. Online impulse shopping is another common cost. The substitution here is a rule that protects your future self. A simple approach is a 24-hour delay rule before any non-essential online purchase. If you still want the item after one full day, you can reconsider. In many cases, curiosity will fade, and the impulse will weaken. In the meantime, you can reflect on whether the item truly adds value or merely fills a temporary urge. This small pause reduces mindless spending and gives your future self time to decide. Subscriptions are a frequent hidden drain. You might cancel or pause a service that you rarely use. If you're unsure, move the subscription into a review quarterly bucket. If you don't notice a clear benefit after 3 months, let it lapse. The substitution here isn't about deprivation, it's about reclaiming room in your budget for things that truly matter. Substituting a costly monthly habit for a lower cost or more valuable option is the kind of change that compounds with minimal effort. In the kitchen, snack cravings and convenience foods can add up. Replace sugary snacks with fruit, nuts, or yogurt. The substitution should be easy to reach: a bowl on the counter, a small container in the bag, a shelf within reach. The goal is not to force restraint but to nudge toward healthier, cheaper choices that satisfy the same cravings. Even small switches like bottled water replaced by a reusable bottle can contribute to meaningful savings. Small nudges create a different reward, so your brain learns to prefer the new path. To make substitution feel natural, design a simple, visible plan. Post a tiny checklist on your fridge or phone: what habit triggers you notice, what substitution you use, and what reward you'll aim for. The plan works best when it's concrete and easy to repeat. You want to minimize decision fatigue by making the right choice the default choice. Now consider the role of friction. Friction means adding steps or costs that slow you down enough to reconsider. For spending habits, friction can be as small as leaving your wallet at home, disabling one-click purchasing, or moving cards to a secure digital wallet that requires a longer confirmation. Friction helps because the brain often opts for the path of least resistance. When the resistance is higher, you have a moment to question whether a purchase is worth it. A little friction acts as a boundary between impulse and intention. If you want stronger protection without complicated rules, automate what you can. Set up automatic transfers to a savings or emergency fund scheduled shortly after each payday. The habit becomes a rhythm rather than a fight. You'll see the balance grow even if you forget, because the system works in the background. Automation doesn't replace thinking, it reduces the chance you'll rely on willpower in moments of weakness. Tracking your progress reinforces the new behavior. A simple habit tracker or a monthly review shows you where you succeeded and where you slipped. Visualizing progress creates a positive feedback loop. Small victories become motivation for the next week. You don't need fancy tools to start. A notebook, a spreadsheet, or a free app can do the job. The important part is consistency and honesty about what works and what doesn't. Let's ground this in a practical 30-day approach. Day 1 begins with choosing 3 bad habits you want to replace. Write them down, along with 1 concrete substitution for each. Day 2, set up a 24-hour delay on discretionary purchases. Day 7, implement a debt-free or savings-first rhythm. Before buying non-essential items, ensure you have a small automatic transfer in place. Day 14, review your tracking data. Day 21, increase friction in one area, such as removing saved cards from autofill or keeping a small amount of cash in a separate place to pay with. Day 28, celebrate the wins and adjust the substitutions as needed. Day 30, reflect on the overall impact and plan the next phase. The plan isn't about perfection, it's about consistent, tangible changes that become part of your daily life. It's common to hit plateaus or to revert to old habits under stress. The key is to recognize that slipping is not a failure, it's information. When a setback happens, discuss what triggered it, how you felt in the moment, and what you could change next time. Use these notes to fine-tune your substitutions and friction settings. In time, the new routines become your default mode, and the old, costly patterns fade into the background. Another powerful element is social support. Share your substitution goals with a trusted friend or partner. You can create a small accountability loop, where you check in weekly, share a quick chart, and celebrate the micro-wins together. Social reinforcement helps your brain associate saving with social approval rather than deprivation. You don't need to become a money nerd to benefit from this approach. A simple check-in is often enough to keep momentum. In practice, think about your day in 3 moments: morning preparation, midday decisions, and evening routines. At each moment, design 1 substitution that preserves the feeling you want without inflating costs. The morning routine could be a short coffee ritual at home. The midday decision might be a deliberate snack swap. The evening routine could be a plan for low-cost entertainment. These small anchors create a framework that makes saving feel doable and even enjoyable rather than punitive. As you implement substitutions, remember that not every substitution will work perfectly right away. Some will fail, and that's part of the process. The learning comes from trying, measuring, and adapting. When you notice a substitution isn't sticking, adjust the cue, refine the routine, or try a different reward. The goal is to keep the behavior light enough to repeat, but meaningful enough to matter. To summarize, replacing bad spending habits with simple substitutions relies on 3 pillars: understanding the habit loop, applying concrete substitutions that fit your life, and creating friction and automation to support consistent behavior. The psychology of habit tells us that consistent cues and routine lead to durable change. Your job is to design those cues and routines so that the reward feels natural and the effort remains manageable. Now, let's translate this into a practical mindset shift you can carry forward. Start by identifying 3 triggers that reliably lead to spending you regret. Pick 1 substitution that reduces cost while preserving the experience you want. Add a small friction step that makes quick purchases less appealing. Finally, automate a portion of your savings so you aren't negotiating with your future self every month. The more you repeat these steps, the more your brain recognizes them as the new standard. Over weeks and months, the cumulative effect becomes noticeable in your bank balance, in your sense of control, and in your confidence about meeting larger goals. You're not asking yourself to become someone else, you're strengthening a practical version of yourself who can say yes to meaningful choices and no to unnecessary costs. If you're ready for action, here's a straightforward 30-day starter plan you can print or save. Pick 3 habits you want to replace and write a 1-sentence substitution for each. Implement a 24-hour delay on discretionary purchases and choose a friction increase, such as removing 1 optional payment method. Set up an automatic transfer to a savings account and link it to your payday. Track your results with a simple chart and schedule a weekly review. At the end of 30 days, assess what worked, what didn't, and where you want to push a little further. The aim is steady progress, not perfection, and every small win compounds. In closing, replacing bad habits with thoughtful substitutions is a practical, psychology-informed approach to saving more. It respects real life, acknowledges human tendencies, and offers a clear path forward. By pairing concrete substitutions with friction and automation, you reduce the reliance on willpower and increase the likelihood that your everyday choices align with your longer-term goals. Remember, the goal isn't to deprive yourself, it's to create room in your life for the things that matter while keeping your finances on track. Start small, stay curious, and let the process unfold over time. You have the power to shape your spending through everyday choices that, over months, become a healthier financial habit. If you keep at it, you'll likely find that small changes add up to meaningful freedom and a stronger sense of control over your money.